Yippee-ki-yay, mother.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Welcome to Yippee-ki-yay, Mother Classic. I'm Ralph Quattricci.
I'm Sean Paul Murphy.
I'm Deborah Murphy.
I'm John Quattricci.
And I'm Chris Coker.
Okay, John, let's just get what's the matter, John? You all right?
I'm fine. It's just that something was announced today, and I didn't know it would affect me the way it is. And I apologize for the glasses, but my eyes are really puffy right now, and I want to look good again.
Ivermectin doesn't really work. That one? That announcement? Which one?
You know, you can make jokes all you want, Ralph. Okay.
Okay.
But this is serious. So let's just get on with the show.
John, can we just get this over with? What's going on?
I need Tom Brady. Tom Brady retired today,
Yep.
and in his farewell speech, he didn't mention anybody in New England. Nobody.
Think of all those season tickets you had. Oof.
Maybe, John.
He's saving it.
Patriots are going to hire him for one day
Right.
so that he can retire.
He's going to retire with the Patriots.
From your mouth to God's ears, Sean. That's all I can
Because
say.
God is definitely a Patriots fan, right,
And
Debbie?
I'll be there.
So
Glare.
So beautiful.
Glare. Everybody waving the
To
glare.
me.
Waving the
Did
glare.
you see Tom Brady, my signature, my autographed card?
and as my son-in-law said, he is most excellent.
Yeah.
And he
All right.
tackled
Okay.
him.
All right.
And
that's
Ralph
good.
brought up that he smelled really good too. So I like
Tom Brady
And he levitated.
retired. I just hope the kid does well after retirement. That's all. I hope he's going to be all right.
I hope he finds something to do.
Yeah, me too.
I hope
All right,
he
let's
finds
before we get to our sports film today that Debbie has brought. You just want okay. Can I give your address so everybody knows where you live?
Signed by the 2004 team
Nice.
who won the Super Bowl.
That's terrific.
I was going to wear it, but the headphones will get in the way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, other than any football that might have happened this weekend, let's do a round of what you watch or what you want to talk about. Let's start with John. Let's get you out of the way so you can cry in the corner by yourself.
Okay. After our fantastic football show, another great 2 games on Sunday that ended disastrously for 2 teams. I mean, just awful, but I'm not going to talk about that. What I watched for the first time, I finally watched 1959's Rio Bravo with John Wayne, Dean Martin, Ricky Nelson, directed by Howard Hawks. I'd never seen it before. And it was Howard Hawks' answer to High Noon. And it was his way to say, because John Wayne and him felt like a sheriff would never go to the town for help. He would never put the town in a position of maybe getting killed, which is what happened in High Noon. So it was the complete opposite of that. And I have to tell you, I read a lot about it and everyone really liked it. I really, really liked it a lot. It was funny. Dean Martin played a convincing alcoholic. Walter Brennan was in it too. Just a really, and John Wayne
Wait a minute. Dean Martin
Dennis
played a
Hopper,
convincing
too,
Yeah,
alcoholic.
but no, I mean, like a serious gunfighter who's
not
an
the fun-loving alcoholic. He played all
and
the
it was
time.
he was
Okay.
really good. His
Okay.
performance was really, really
I just want to
good.
make sure
But
that
it's a
that's
good
straight.
movie if you've never seen it. And I know they remade it a couple of different times, including with John Wayne.
Rio Lobo.
Yeah, Rio Lobo. But this was and Angie Dickinson too, who, by the way, was just gorgeous. I mean, wow, just gorgeous. A little creepy with her and John Wayne. That was a little creepy. I got to be honest, because I think he was twice her age. But
Welcome to Hollywood.
yeah, well, exactly. Look at your point. But it was good. If you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. It was I really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
Rio Bravo.
Sean and Debbie, what about you guys?
We watched that football game,
The Chiefs.
the Chiefs,
Yeah.
and we couldn't believe our eyes. We couldn't believe it.
Patrick
Well,
Mahomes
it's like
looked like a
Mahomes
different
Leading
guy.
the whole time and
He
just
fell apart.
Yeah.
Last couple minutes.
Yeah, he looked rattled, didn't he?
He really
Yes.
looked rattled.
But you know what? As much as I'm glad that Eric was on our podcast, and I would like to have seen them win. I'm pretty happy for Cincinnati. That's got to be great for that city.
Somebody
And-
gotta win,
Well,
somebody gotta lose.
Eric was worried about the game. He said, Cincinnati
It's
beat him week 17.
Same way too.
Boy,
Down
I
by
did
the
not
same
see
amount.
that. I thought the Chiefs were going to roll them. In
With
fact,
that
after that
momentum they had going into that game.
not only that, but the first half, it was like a video game. They were marching
they
down
had
the field
three
every
touchdowns.
time. Yeah, it was crazy.
Well, it
So I thought
started
they were
with
gonna
that
pull
last
out.
play in the second half. I keep saying
That was the turnaround
that
when
was
they
the
couldn't
turnaround.
score 5
And
yards
you got to
out.
give kudos to Joe Burrows too, who just
Oh
you know,
no, he's
that-
that guy's a stud, and he's going to be
Yeah.
great.
with his
But you don't
cigars
expect
and
you don't
diamond
expect
necklaces and-
Mahomes to do the things that he did.
No, that was a little
because he
weird.
doesn't do that.
You,
Yeah,
you
he was
expect Andy
rattled.
Reid.
Yeah.
You expect Andy Reid to blow a few things and
Yeah.
screw up some time and things like that. 'cause
Well,
he
they
used to
should
do
have
that
kicked
all
the
the
field
time.
goal right before half, not go
It's
for the
Andy
touchdown.
Reid. So I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
what the hell with that?
That's Andy Reid.
Andy Reid had some trouble in Philly. The same thing. So
I tell you
know,
what, that's the same thing they were doing with the Ravens. Of those last 4 losses, 2 of them were self-imposed.
Right.
We could have still been,
Self-inflicted. You know.
self-inflicted, self-imposed. Yeah.
And by we, you mean the Ravens, or I
Yeah,
don't get it.
the Ravens.
Oh, okay.
By going for the 2 points,
Right, but that's
when
just
1
hubris
point
on
won it,
your
by
coach
not
there.
kicking,
Yeah.
and then losing by 2 points.
That's Harbaugh going. We can do anything we want.
Well, that's
except-
what
oops.
Reid thought. Reid thought they're
Except
not
we
going to
can't. Right.
keep us from scoring. We've scored three possessions, 3 scores. We'll score from 5 yards out. And
But,
good,
you know,
good for Cincinnati. Because
I tell you, the guy I feel bad for is the guy that had the interception in his hand. For
Oh, yeah.
San Francisco and dropped. it.
yes.
Yeah.
That guy's never ever going to forget that one.
Wow, Jimmy G sucks, huh?
A little bit.
Whoa,
Kind of
Whoa.
choked it out.
he was awful.
But I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah,
But-
that was the game. He
I don't know if
catches
you remember
that
2008, John, who missed the interception and then led to the hat catch.
ball. It was Samuel,
Samuel's right through his hands.
Asante Samuel,
Right through his
right
hands. He
between
had it,
his hands.
would have ended the game right there.
That's right.
And we were there
Ralph, I
watching
just
it.
noticed something. You're wearing my red hat.
Who, me?
Yeah.
No, he's got
I
black.
have a hat on because A, it's freezing cold. B, in honor of the film, I wanted to put a little, snow thing, a little hat on.
A
That's
little
all.
snow thing.
Yeah.
Little snow. It's
I'm
cold outside.
celebrating the Jamaican portion. That's
I
Yeah,
like that,
It's good.
man.
Jamaica looked very warm. All right, Chris, what did you watch this week, or what do you want to talk about?
No, I'm actually watching a really, and I want to tell everybody on this particular podcast because I think you'd all dig it. It's a Netflix show. It's just came out. It's called Archive 81.
I was going to talk about that one, but go ahead.
Okay.
What is it?
It's about a guy who works at the Museum of the Moving Image in New York. And what he does is he restores videotape, like damaged videotapes.
Wow.
And so pretty standard, shadowy rich guy comes to him and says, hey, I'm going to pay you $100,000 to restore these tapes of a woman who back in the mid 90s was making like a documentary about this apartment building in New York that burned down. So he has to go to this like secluded in the middle of nowhere place and stay there by himself while he restores these videotapes and takes notes and does all this stuff.
Yeah, it's a old 8mm videotapes that got caught in the fire.
Yeah. And so the basic idea is, so this guy goes out there and strangeness ensues. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to give
This is a
much
movie or a series?
No, it's a series.
series.
Uh,
8 episodes.
okay.
I'm not done with it yet.
I've seen the first 3 or
Mhm.
4. Okay. It's sort of a Rosemary's Baby thing going. There's something going on in the building. Okay. Kind of
There's a
Rosemary's
weird
Baby.
thing happening.
Listen, I started
almost
watching it.
put that on.
I'm hooked.
I think it's gonna be a disappointing series ultimately, but the equipment porn that goes on in this film is amazing.
The
Mhm.
equipment.
The stuff that he's pulling out now. This guy's restoring
Ralph's in his glory
videotapes.
with that stuff.
Editing.
This guy's restoring videotapes. There's no way in hell he could be playing these videotapes as clear. You get videotapes that haven't been put in a fire. You stick in them in a machine and the tapes are breaking. There's no way. But all of a sudden they're pulling out. They go into these shops and they're pulling out PXL. All these cameras and stuff that I just would go crazy for.
Who's
So-
in it? Anybody famous in it that we
I
would
don't know any of the actors actually.
The only actor I was familiar with at all is the shadowy rich guy, Martin Donovan.
Yes.
Who's a character actor. I've known him from some independent movies from the late 80s and early 90s from Hal Hartley, if any of you know his work. Truth.
He was a DEA agent in Weeds, right? That falls in love with the woman who is in Weeds.
He was the one thing that I kind of, one of the bigger things he was in was that movie with Al Pacino, Insomnia.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
was where
He was his
you know,
partner.
he's his partner where Pacino goes to like Alaska when it's light for
And
22
accidentally
hours. A day.
shoots him.
Yeah, it's a remake
Yeah.
of a Swedish film.
Yeah, yes, it is. Mhm.
And,
But yeah,
that was directed by Inception guy. What's his name? Christopher Nolan.
Chris Nolan. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say this, Ralph, I am 7 episodes in, so I've only got the
Is it
finale
worth-
left
You
to
got
go.
2. Oh, there's 8 or 9. I think there's 9 or 8. 8.
It's 8. I think it's 8.
Because
And,
I read something where people aren't too happy about the ending, and I'm a little bit. I mean, I'm
Well,
in and
that's-
out. I'm drifting in and out of this one because I'm.
Yeah.
But there's so much beautiful equipment, analog
Sure.
equipment in this thing. It's
Oh
just
my
amazing.
God.
It's amazing.
How was the movie? I don't know, but the equipment is
It's
awesome.
just it's
Hey,
it's that
Ralph.
trope. It's the same trope where someone's carrying a camera around through the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
The battery never dies. The shot's always perfect. No matter where she's not even using a tripod. She's just shoving it on books and she's getting perfect shots. I mean, it's that kind of stuff. And
Some
to
people
watch
die.
this guy restore tape by just taking his white gloves and alcohol and just spreading it like this, and it all plays perfectly. Come on, but it's glorious stuff.
Archive 81, it's called.
Archive 81 on Netflix,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, by the way, that does remind me of a documentary I watched, if I could throw in, because this was some great equipment porn too. It was called Sound City, about the audio recording studio in Los Angeles where Fleetwood Mac recorded Rumors, Nirvana recorded their big album. Dave Grohl produced and directed the film because that's where they did. And they had this amazing board there, the Nev board, which is why everyone went there, because it was like a horrible facility that shouldn't have sounded as good. But this guy, Nev, as an Englishman, made a few soundboards, and they gave like the best sound ever, particularly on
Literally,
drums.
the mixing board made the sound so perfect. And
Yeah,
Wow.
the mixing board. It's like a miracle board.
wow,
And
Like
there
Opus.
was a big play. A lot of big acts came to Baltimore to record in the late 70s too, because there was some guy in Baltimore made a mixing board. It was on a boat. He had a little studio on a boat down in the harbor, and then eventually sank. But a lot of national bands came here to record because of that board. But it's an amazing thing. It's about equipment. And Ralph, I know you and you've been in a lot of recordings. I'm sure you've been in a lot of sound recording studios. And what this documentary showed is like audio when it was analog,
Yeah.
and you needed the rooms, you needed the equipment,
yeah,
and
It's
how
fun to go
digital
back
came
and look at
along and
that.
sucked everything up.
yeah.
And then
It's
there was
fun
a
to-
slight
yeah.
renaissance.
And-
And now those places are gone.
Yeah.
And any musician will tell you, the sound is so important. And if you have a good soundboard, it's great. But if you have a bad one, it's an accident. You
Well,
know?
all these docs I'm watching now on music, they're all talking about ELO is one in particular. Somewhere had Boston. He did everything in his own studio. The lead guy in that one, all by himself. It was all about
Yeah.
the equipment. Yeah, but that's what when you look back
But he
at
was
these,
an electrician. He's electrical.
well, I mean, again,
inventor.
you look back at these, and we were in the business as it transitioned to digital. So we were there 35 years ago when it was all analog, and it is amazing to go back and look at that stuff. And this Archive 81 it's so much stuff. It's just great. All right, I'll
Debbie
quickly.
and I are
Yeah,
probably going to
that's-
watch this
Yeah.
today.
That sounds right up our.
I'll quickly. The
Unless
only
we
other thing
watch
I
next
watched,
week's movie.
and I was surprised I like it, is The Peacemaker on HBO Max, the James Gunn series with John Cena. And the only reason it works, it's Gunn's sensibilities, which I kind of like, because Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad he did. But what's his name? Cena just is all in. He's all in,
He's very goofy.
and he's playing it so straight and so
Yeah.
honestly.
It's a hard R.
Yeah, it's a great show, and it's coming out once a week now, so I'm going to wait for it to finish it. The first 3 were dropped, and I watched the first 3 and loved it. But I think it's going to be great, and Cena's great in it. I never expected to like it, and I think it's a really good series.
Yeah, it is
But-
very good.
Reason we're wearing the hats and the Jamaican is Debbie brought a film. Debbie, what film did you bring to Yippee Classic?
It is Cool Runnings. It is with John Candy. It is his last film. Well, he had other films before, but he died 6 months after this film came out in 1988.
This
And
came out in 93.
93. The film takes place in 88.
oh yeah, the film takes place. I'm
Right.
sorry,
That's right.
88.
That's okay.
And John.
I know you have a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure.
The director. What'd you
John-
say?
John, what's his name? How do you pronounce that guy's name?
Turtle Tall,
Turtle Top. He's most known for what the secret, the
the National
Yeah.
Treasure.
Treasure.
National Treasure,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah. Did he do the
Phenomenon.
Smithsonian stuff? Where the stuff comes alive, Ben Stiller stuff. Is that him?
No, I don't think he did.
Night at the museum.
Yeah, Night at the Museum. Okay, go ahead, Deb. I'm sorry.
So this movie is about Jamaicans, four guys that go to the Olympics. They want to try for the Olympics for the bobsled running. And they invent their name Cool Runnings because, it's
Cool
awesome.
that they're in the show. Right.
It is so awesome. If you could do the trailer, that would help.
Okay, director. Wow.
Oh,
all right.
yeah, just give them
I'll
some
get it
more.
for you. All right.
You zigging? You zagging? Ooh. Always remember, your bones will not break in a bobsled. No. They shatter. So, who wants in?
We're looking for a sponsor for the first Jamaican bobsled team.
Their dream was to compete in the Olympics. But they chose a sport they knew nothing about
Great. Very good.
in a climate they had never been.
Cold weather endurance is vital to building a successful sled team.
This is the true story of four unlikely athletes
How about I beat your butt right now?
How about I draw a line down the middle of your head so it looks like a butt?
who weren't prepared for what they were about to face.
It's a beautiful afternoon in Calgary, and there is a lot more coming up.
Is this whole thing a big joke? I can't get my helmet on. Oh, thanks, coach.
Why don't you put some training wheels on that sled?
Leave the bobsledding to the real man.
You know you're gonna have to do this on your own one day.
You have no business here, Jamaica.
People are always afraid of what's different.
Now! Good!
But they found in each other
Do you really expect these Jamaicans to qualify?
the courage to give it their all.
Not only are they going to qualify, they're going to turn some heads doing it.
I see pride. I see power.
And they took the whole world along for the ride.
Is to follow your dreams.
Follow your dreams.
Walt Disney Pictures presents
I am feeling very Olympic today.
a story for anyone who dares to stand out in a crowd,
I didn't come up here to forget who I am and where I come from.
and everyone with the courage to stand up for their dreams.
How will I know if I'm enough?
When you cross that finish line,
Where did these guys come from?
you'll know.
Cool Runnings.
So what are we gonna name this sled?
Tallulah.
Tallulah.
That's my mother's name.
Tallulah. That's an option. I like it.
And we're back.
We're back.
Did you say that Hans from Die Hard did the music?
Yeah, Hans Gruber. No, Hans Zimmer did the music, and it was a good score. I like the score, but they didn't play it in the trailer. That was from Hoosiers. That was the music from Hoosiers.
Yeah, they
I think it was Jerry
oftentimes they
Goldsmith.
make the trailers before they're finished the film.
It was
All
a
right.
good soundtrack. I liked it.
So, Debbie, explain why you wanted to bring this film to the table.
This film I saw with my daughters, and they said, "We got to see this movie, Mom." And I said, "Oh, come on, it's not going to be any good." And they said, "No, it's going to be great. Come on, let's go see it." So we go and see it. We loved it. All
That
the
was
children,
in
my three
1993.
girls. What?
In 93. Oh, you're saying
Yeah,
recently?
when it first came out.
Okay.
I just remember it was delightful. We were all smiling. We were all happy. It made you feel good. I think this movie is what I would describe it as a Cinderella story complete. These guys, they work together, just tremendous, odds were against them. Whoever heard of ice in Jamaica, and we go to the islands a lot anytime we can, we get there. We've never been to Jamaica, but
We're afraid people will chop our heads off.
it's just the fact
There
that
goes that sponsorship.
we haven't gotten to it. But I definitely want to go to the museum now. Here's the thing. This really did happen. These fellows, the two guys, George Fitch and William Mahoney. So they're there as attachés. And when they see the carts, they have this like a go-kart.
Yeah.
but they push them in their country, and they have contests like soapbox here. His brother has a soapbox, enters his thing every spring or so, but that came out weird. So these two guys, they said, oh, the best thing for you guys to do is have a bobsled. And he puts it out there, and they say, well, why not try out for it? So the best athletes were the sprinters, because that sport requires a lot of strength initially to get that. I think it's 100. How many pounds is it? 160 pounds.
Not as heavy as me.
Not as
take
heavy
a
as
lot of
Sean,
sprinters. Yeah, that would.
but
be a
up
lot.
there.
The sled is 600 pounds.
Or 600 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know it was something.
Lighter than the sled.
Okay, good.
That's a lot of, that's a lot of speed you got to get to. 85 miles an hour is 85 miles an hour they can go, and I haven't even drinking yet. And I said, but and this is Pepsi right here. So to me, the movie was just like, oh, these guys, you're really rooting for them. And then you have the snobby, Europeans, they're with these guys. And that's always fun when
It's always Germans are the bad guys. Always. Love it.
they're always eins, zwei, drei. It's just hilarious. And
1,
then
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
okay, show off.
Okay, that's awesome.
So,
Why
anyway,
don't you go back to Jamaica?
yeah.
Go now. I'm like,
Wow.
wow.
Okay, we'll
find
talk
out-
about it later. But he was the
They
first
find
one
out
to
who
slow
they
clap.
are, They find out who they are. And furthermore, when they go down to the, their last run, they got a good start, better than anybody.
Yeah.
And then the ship malfunctions.
Well,
and then-
that's according to the movie.
In real
no,
life,
it
they
did
just
happen. It did
No,
happen.
they
No,
didn't have
they
mechanical
crashed.
failure.
it
No,
wasn't
in real life,
They say-
he
I watched interviews with these
He
guys.
overturned.
overturned. That's what happened.
That's okay. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
the story
I mean,
was
they
there.
took some creative license throughout the whole
98%.
movie.
I'll
and,
say
and the guys who
85.
originally did it, they commented on that. They said, we like the idea that it was a mechanical
Yeah,
failure. We
course
like
they
what
would.
Disney did,
right.
but they're
Yeah, right.
charming. These guys are simply charming, all of them.
She
The
has been
one-
No
watching
question.
interviews.
No
I've
question.
been watching interviews of these real people, and
Yeah.
Devin Harris does motivational speaking.
Yeah, he's
now.
on TED Talks and
Yeah, it's
same
a-
jokes. Same jokes. He does the same. I look just like Yul Brenner, except I used to have hair or something.
But it's
So yeah, the film
neat.
is okay. I don't want to talk because I have a few things that I want to talk about. But go ahead, you guys, Chris, John.
All right, I'll jump in on Cool Runnings
Take
because
the
I'm
sword.
a huge fan of the. I've actually never seen this movie.
What?
Yeah, I'd never seen it because
Well, can I ask one? Let me ask one question before. Did you remember 1988, the Jamaican bobsled team?
I
Oh,
do.
yes.
I remember.
I don't
mean,
remember
yeah,
that. I don't
Yeah.
have any recollection. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Everyone was wearing the t. They intercut footage from the actual.
Yeah,
broadcast.
I know that was from the.
But
From the
everyone wearing the shirts. That was a hot shirt during
yeah,
Calgary.
I didn't realize that. But go ahead, Chris.
It was so anyway, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I understand dramatic license and the need to change things to make it an interesting story or more interesting story. But I remember the Jamaican bobsled team. Oh, and a slight little note, for the first time in 24 years, they've qualified again and will be in the Beijing Olympics.
Oh, really?
Yes. So they're going to be back. But this felt like one of those films where I don't know, and I get it, it's a Disney film and everything, but it felt like somebody said, hey man, you remember everybody loved the Jamaican bobsled team. It was a very popular thing. The fact that they qualified was the real victory, because it is true that I read an interview with one of the guys and he was talking about the differences in the film and real life. And he was like, he really had never really seen a bobsled in real life until like September before. And they qualified like 4 months later, which is an amazing thing.
Right.
But like at the same time, there's something about this movie. And don't get me wrong, I watched it with my children, and they both loved it. It took a little while for them to get into it, but at the end they were over the moon about it. But it almost felt somewhat. This is going to sound like a weird word, but mercenary to me. It felt like somebody said, "Hey, remember the Jamaican bobsleds? Everybody loved that. Everybody thought that was fun.
Oh, you mean let's cash in on it?
Yeah,
You
like
mean
let's just cash in on it." I mean, I watched the film, and there was nothing really like annoying or offensive. The people in it are pretty funny. Some of the jokes don't land. It's a little bland. And, of course they have the bad guys who apparently that's completely made up. Apparently they were open.
Yeah,
they were welcomed with open arms and everybody was super nice to them.
Yeah.
I do think it is funny how the bad guys are East Germans too.
That's right.
I mean, East Germany was still around then, but
And they all talk like the Third Reich too.
Exactly. We got the super thick accent. But it was just one of those movies that as I was watching it, it just felt like somebody was like, hey, let's get that guy. Let's get Turtletub because we know he keeps things in focus. He's going to keep us on budget and under schedule.
Keep things in focus.
You know what I mean? Like,
you mean the movie was a little clunky?
No, I just mean it was like, it just felt like to some extent that, it felt like a product more than
what? Sorry.
A product. Like truly, and I understand that all film is product in certain commercial, but this felt like a movie where, and the funny thing is I sat and I enjoyed it. It was a pleasant little movie. It kind of made me think back to the stuff, and my kids liked it. So, I mean, it was hitting on all cylinders, but like underneath I had that little feeling of like, this was just like something that they stamped out. Do you know what I mean? Like it didn't knock me out. So, but at the same time, I really enjoyed it, and it really got me fired up for the Beijing Olympics too. So on the one hand, it's like it kind of served its purpose in that regard. I have to say, and that thing. And like I said, my kids really took a little while for them to get into it, but by the end, they were cheering and they were super excited. And they're super excited about the Olympics too. So I mean, that's kind of my take on this one.
John.
Yeah, I had never seen this movie, so I knew all about it, but I had never seen it. So I didn't know what to expect. I mean, you knew it was Disney, so you know it was going to be fluff, which it was. Obviously, they compressed the time frame because from when he doesn't make the race to their bobsledding, it happens so fast. But having said that, I thought the lead characters were engaging. I thought they were funny. It was a little bittersweet to watch John Candy because you knew he died soon after that. That was kind of tough. But I will tell you, for me, the end. Now they didn't do this. They did literally walk across the finish line after they crashed. They did not carry their sled. Other people carried the sled. But that scene for me, when they got the sled up on their shoulders and they're trudging across, and then all of a sudden the clapping starts. I got a little chill during that scene. I mean, it was one of those things like in Rocky or Hoosiers or movies like that where you just feel good about everybody in it. And even the bad guys end up turning around, So I liked it. It was a fluff movie, but it was enjoyable. When it was over, I had a big smile on my face, and I wanted to learn more about the real guys. So I started going on YouTube and looking at interviews and stuff, and I found that really, really interesting. And you can only imagine what the people of Jamaica must have felt about that little team, even not completely embarrassing themselves in the bobsled race, that how much pride they must have had about it. And frankly, they now have bobsled teams that they try to get in every year. So it's not like this thing back then. It was no one had ever heard of it. So I enjoyed it. I really did. It was, and Debbie, I don't know if you heard me or not, but I had never seen this movie before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. Like I said, the guys were all so likable in it. Now, look, I'm not going to, and you know me, but it was a little stereotypical, some of the stuff that they were doing. It was.
Okay. I don't think any of those four actors are Jamaican, are they?
They're not. But that didn't even bother me because
of course
it was just kind of goofy.
Sean, what?
And that's what I liked about it. And it had a really nice ending to it.
Well, you can look at it that originally they wanted Denzel Washington.
Yeah, and Eddie Murphy.
Yeah. And I tell you what, exactly. I don't think the movie would have been as good with the bigger names in it.
No.
And
I think you're probably right, because you would have but remember, Eddie Murphy back then wasn't quite as big as he is as he ended up. But you're right, because you would have said, well, that's Eddie Murphy, that's Denzel Washington, as opposed to these guys who at that point really hadn't done an awful lot.
Also, you know how every movie I say, well, I saw this one in the theater. I did not see this movie in the theater. Yes, this was literally the first time I had seen this movie as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Yeah.
And, wow. Oh, well, so four of us.
I had never
time.
seen this film.
Yeah.
Wow. So Debbie picked one that none of us had seen.
Yeah.
And I know Ralph has a lot of opinions on it, but let me just say, I think I'm very similar to John and Chris. I mean, obviously it was a commercial cash in.
Well,
But
I just
can
say,
I give my opinion first, baby?
oh, sure.
Okay. All right. Have a kiss.
Conflict is good for the show.
Can you guys
Conflict
take that
is
to
good for
another
the show,
room
you
if you're going to
guys.
do that? Come on.
Let's go.
So, but I thought the performers were engaging. I had a really 90s feel during flashback during the entire film. Part of it was due to the score, which was very much, a good score, but very much at a period. The shooting was very much at a period. And John Turteltaub.
Well, no, okay. So explain. What do you mean the shooting was of the period? I don't know what that means.
It just looked like film shot at that time.
Yeah, very straight.
It was very straight. Very well lit. I mean, by well lit, I mean not arty in any way. Just flat. Very flat lighting. And if you look at 90s films, I think you'll see that
especially
they tend to be brighter than the films of the 70s and in the 80s.
Did you think the bobsled stuff was shot well?
Yeah, I mean, some of it was live footage.
Yeah, but some of it was. I mean, you felt like you were in that
It was
sled.
an upbeat film. I really enjoyed watching it. In the sense, it didn't have the stakes of a film like you mentioned Rocky. In Rocky, here's a guy. He has a very, he is actually kind of depressed. He's lonely. He's working for a gangster. And, if, his life is going down the drain if he doesn't win.
Well, there was gravitas to Rocky. There was no gravitas to this movie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But in this film, it's sort of like, if they fail, they're still going to be living okay. You know what I mean?
How about when their bobsleds going down the track and their heads are on the corner? I mean,
that was that last crash. I mean, that was
Right.
well photographed.
Yeah, but the whole
really
Rocky movie, same thing with Hoosiers.
No,
it's just on a different level.
that was a lot of stakes.
Yeah.
It's stakes, but had they failed at this and not been hurt, their lives are not going to be ruined. You know what I mean? If they lost, they would still go back, Psycha, coffee, would still be enjoying
Yeah, because
themselves.
they're simple.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the look. What John said is what. Okay, I had never seen this film, and we're a film. We talk about films, and we haven't even talked about the idiocy of John Candy as the coach having the, he gets thrown off a team for cheating, putting weights or something that came up towards the end.
Yeah, weights.
He walked through this film. Okay, let's just say it. Now, whether he was not feeling well or whatever.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think he was having health issues.
Well, okay, but I'm saying his character, and what I was fascinated by was the story after the story. So when I researched like John did, I went and started researching what happened. That is a better story than this movie. This movie was way too playful about Jamaica. It was all Jamaica. The guys they're very positive about everything. And even one guy I think Candy even turns to him and goes, "Are you guys always this? You never give up?" He actually says, "You guys never give up." And that's the main Leon guy sprinter going, "No, I just want to keep doing this." He just lost the guy wouldn't finance him or something. So they were playing a little too loose with just how feel goody it was to be Jamaican and all that.
Well, the one guy,
and it's clunky. The movie is clunky. The trailer is well edited. Okay. The movie is not well edited. They let things hang. Jokes are it's, let's talk about it as a film. Now it's a feel good film. There's no question. At the end of it, you're rooting for those guys, especially after the crash and you see what happens and the walk to the finish line and the 90s trope of the slow clap. Even John Candy's ex-partner finally gives into the slow clap. I mean, it's just, come on. But it is engaging. And it did make me want to see the story on these guys. And that's when I bumped into the guy who does the TED Talk, one of the original 3 that went on and was in the bobsled team. But
you did find yourself smiling throughout the movie.
I'm saying
right?
it's a weird feeling. It's clunky as hell. And it's a cash grab. And those guys are trying hard to be Jamaican. And I just think they just piled. I mean, they had to, because that's the whole point of the film. Jamaicans in a bobsled with ice. Are you kidding me? What the hell? This is crazy.
It is crazy. That's the whole idea. It's a human, achievement.
But is it a good film?
Yes, it's a great film because
Wolf. Okay.
it shows, and I'm just telling you how I felt about that film.
I understand. That's
so
the point.
many times we've gone to the islands. You know, we watched, and I don't know about you guys if you've been on vacation very much. We've been on a lot of vacations to an island.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
When
now,
I was
the first
working.
day you get to the island, right?
Yeah.
And you go, oh, this is so nice just to relax on the island.
You
And then you-
immediately get that
Debbie,
accent.
do you do that voice when you get on the island? Is that what you do? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Just want to make
it's so
sure.
nice to be on the
Come
island.
on.
Oh, man,
God.
it's so nice to be
World.
here, man.
Away from it all, you know what I mean? So you're there. The first day, you go, this is super fine. This is so great. The second day, you go, yeah, this is great. This is really nice. And the third day, you're there on the island, you're on the beach, and you go, this is really nice, but I think I'm gonna get off this island.
It's too hot. What's the deal?
You know, it's like the idea, your every day is the same. It's beautiful.
Right.
You know, too much of a good thing. Now, these islanders.
Well, what
that are
about
the-
me, baby? I see
say-
you every day,
so-
and you're beautiful.
So these islanders,
Oh,
they're there every day.
nice.
They have
Sean.
in a beautiful place every single day. And you imagine what it's
They're
like.
kind of,
to
but
be
they're kind of poor. They're the poor. Like there's
very
only
much
one.
so, but they're rich because they live on an island and they're very happy. You know, they're very happy because they
Okay.
have the sun, the moon, the ocean, the sand, you know.
We have all that.
I'm gonna throw in here. I mentioned this a few weeks back. There's a movie called The Harder They Come.
That's what inspired her, I think.
And anyway, it's the first film that was like shot in Jamaica with Jamaicans, and
All right.
in some ways, this film starring Jimmy Cliff, and it was in some ways that film was not well received by Jamaicans in other countries because it shows the other side of Jamaica. It shows people literally picking through dumps to find food.
Right.
It shows most of it takes place in shanty towns. There's only a couple of, scenes in the beautiful parts of Jamaica. There's almost no beach scenes. I mean, there are a few, but it does kind of show that. And it's funny because when that film showed in other places, like in England, right, the Jamaican population didn't like it because they felt it showed an ugly side of Jamaica and they didn't want that to be shown. And while Jamaica is gorgeous, and I'm sure, I used to work with a couple of Jamaicans back in my Blockbuster days, and they were great. And they were just really great guys. And the stereotype about being hardworking, 100% true. Those are the hardest working guys I had. But the idea that, it is a beautiful place, but at the same time, there is a lot of, poverty there.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that this movie does just kind of gloss over. And it almost seems like, it would have been a more interesting look if they would have said, hey, this is really, because, the guys actually weren't even sprinters. They were like from the army. They were the guys who drove the bobsled and they were in the Jamaican army, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I read. So I think it might have been a little bit more engaging because it's like, you get to the end there and it is amazing. Like they qualify and then they literally, I remember this because I watched it. They just went for it on that last run. They had a great run and they were like an 8th. I think that is an accurate statement. So they were really out of the medals, but there was a super slim chance they could have gotten the bronze. So they went for it and they crashed. And, you got to respect that, and it is exciting and it does, it does what sports movies do. It kind of makes us excited and, fills us with emotion and stuff. But,
Listen,
but at the same time,
I only hung with
feel
it.
like
I only hung with it
because Jamaica was a little much.
Right. Well, I hung with it because we had to watch it. And Debbie, I felt like I had to watch it.
Well,
And
you must watch
listen. Was I not uplifted at the end? Yes, I was. But I'm telling you, the acting and the direction and just the overall clunkiness of the film come on, it's ridiculous. Now, does it have a feel good message? Yes, it does. And I can put all that aside and go, I got a little choked up at the end when you see how hard they crashed and the way they carried themselves across the finish line and what they had to go through to get there. But again, I'd much rather see a documentary about that than watch a film like this. That's just my, that's
Well,
what I
imagine-
think.
I think we need to have a documentary about this film and about the team.
Not about the
Because
film,
now
about the team.
The team is going to be female going to the Olympics. The bobsled team being all females. And I think that is going to be great.
What, in Beijing?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They're going to have, we should have a movie about that coming out soon. Cooler Runnings.
Oh,
Or
Really cool
runningers.
yeah.
Cool running is.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, imagine this film. If you see, they could have gone two ways with this movie. They could have gone the way they did, and this film was a monster hit. This was the biggest live action hit Disney had.
Yeah. That's
it
right.
was.
And
Oh, it was huge.
but imagine it directed by Scorsese with like a Robert Towne script. It would have still had that inspirational thing, but it would have had the gravitas. You know, I mean, but they chose. This is the film they chose to make.
And John Candy's performance, you say, is flat. I think it's perfectly fits him as the coach. Perfect. He's a
well, that's a
slacker. He's sort of-
fictionalized. That's a fictionalized person. Number one.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know, but
And then they have to build in this whole backstory about him, you know,
and
losing his.
I think that is like really awesome that he's a loser.
You're easily manipulated then.
But in real
John
bobsledding,
is a
in real
writer.
bobsledding, you can put
How
weights
much
in the
might
sled.
be right.
So that's not a real thing that he got kicked out for.
Well, ultimately, no. Is that you can put
no,
weights in there?
you can put weights in the sled. In fact, they do that.
See, so even
Yeah,
that was
Yeah.
you know,
But
Right.
it's
But
but that's
at the
because
ma-
there's a maximum weight that the sled's allowed to have.
I don't know. I didn't see that.
Yeah,
But-
no, because it used to be that they just got four really, really big fat guys to go down because there is a maximum weight
gravity.
that a bobsled can
Yeah.
have. And that includes people, sled, everything.
no.
So you're right. They probably do put weights to get right to that 600 kilograms or whatever it is.
Yeah, a little dramatic license.
Well, and
that's
John
all.
Candy in the picture standing next to his sprinter friend was a lot thinner than he was. Even the guy says, geez, what happened to you? His
Exactly.
his
Well, tell us
ex-partner.
about what you learned about John Candy then, Ralph.
What do you mean what I learned? What do you mean what I learned?
You said you did a deep dive into John Candy.
No, into the real team.
No,
Oh, the real
I
team.
dove into the real team. I don't have to do a deep dive into Candy, but
Oh, just I'll
I
dive.
can't believe this was their live action hit. Was
Yeah.
this one of the first ones they'd ever? No, they've done a.
No, it
ton
wasn't
of
one of the first, but it was their biggest live action at the time.
Bigger than the computer wore tennis
That's
shoes.
Kurt
Kurt
Russell.
Russell.
What? Yeah.
Kurt
World
Russell.
athlete Kurt Russell.
Yeah,
I can't.
the
Well,
world's
I mean,
strongest man.
listen, it's a feel good. It's fun. There's no question. And if
It's a Disney movie.
yeah, I
I
just
mean,
I couldn't get
take it
past
for
the
what it
technical-
is.
And I like the stuff he's done lately. The the stuff with Nicolas Cage. That's the same guy, isn't it?
Yeah, here's
Yeah.
the thing. And I meant to bring this up last week when we had the Oliver Stone film. But the contrast between these two films, it's like everything you see now is shot well. Everything sounds well. I think the sound mix are horrible. Dialogue's down usually, but everything looks good now. But what you're not seeing in any film I see is what Oliver Stone brought to Any Given Sunday, which is personal style. I mean, I enjoy Turtle Taub's films, this one, Phenomenon, a lot of these other films, National Treasure and all, but none of them have a style. It's just a collection of shots. It's not like he's Scorsese or he's Steven Spielberg. You don't look at a film and say, Turtle Taub. You know what I mean?
No.
It's just, he's like a solid journeyman filmmaker. And even like the good stuff you see on like Netflix and streaming, it's all just solid, uninspiring
Like Chris
filmmaking.
said, they know the camera's in focus. They can point it in the right place, and the actors do what they have.
Yeah,
to
but I
do.
think that's symptomatic of everything now.
Well,
I mean, when is something, did you see something on Netflix that really challenged you as not as
David
story,
Fincher's
but with
Mindhunter.
filmmaking?
David Fincher, Mindhunter. But that's picking.
Well, Fincher is like one of the rare people that does.
I know what you're saying. I mean, and this,
like 99% of the stuff, even the superhero stuff, doesn't have that flair because none of it's real. It's all
it's you recognize a Zack Snyder superhero film, right?
stupidity, right?
Oh, whatever. He's got his style. I think the director in this one took the Jamaican approach, which is, hey man, it's very relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
The script's a little funky. John Candy's character has weird motivations. We barely see them. He's barely in the training stuff. But I'm saying all this.
Montage, that was very 80s.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
I think we're missing the whole point of the movie.
I don't think I'm missing the point of the movie, but go ahead. Tell me what I missed.
Well, I think you are, because the whole point of the movie, it's like these islanders, you know, they have nothing there. They have the island there. That's their wealth.
Right.
They have tourism.
Right.
But what they do is like they give boat rides, and this film shows them being men, you know, the group of them being men together. They're almost like, I saw it and I said, this is like the Beatles, the four of them, you know, each one having their component, but actually getting that thing to go down that hill and dangerous, 85 miles an hour, what they did. I mean, this is almost like an astronaut going into space for these guys that are living in 95 degree weather, and now they're 20 degrees below, and they're out of their.
It's fish out. Well, listen, fish out of water. Underdog. Just check them all off. Okay, you got the underdog.
That scene was funny though when they came to the airport and he walks out the door and they're all standing by. That was funny.
No, there's some light moments in here that are funny. I just couldn't.
But not just funny, but the way these men who like went against their, you know, what their environment, and they moved into a whole different world.
Are you denying their manhood, Ralph?
I am not denying their manhood.
I did like that each one of them had their moment.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Listen,
what they did, became a man.
What they did to careen down that thing at 85, 90 miles an hour is an amazing thing. I want to know more about it. I don't want any more of this film. Okay. I don't want to know from this film.
The movie inspired
me to go look at other things. So I'm glad I saw it for that purpose. But if I have to look at it from a technical standpoint, it's clunky as hell. It makes no sense.
But a movie like this,
okay, even the scenes. Okay, they do this whole montage. Wait a minute. They do this whole montage of executives laughing at them when they're asking for money. Right? Everybody's laughing. They're all in the same set. It's the same set. They're stuck between these two pillars.
No, there was different paperwork.
That's right. They just changed the dressers behind them and the paperwork. So they shot that in one day. This guy goes, you know what? Jamaica Man. Let's just shoot this on one set. That's what I would do to save a ton of money on a shoot. I go, remember, John, we used to do our show. We just turn the camera to go to a different wall. Yeah. I mean, they didn't even turn the camera. They just pointed. They brought a dresser in, new paperwork on the table. And
you should have been on that film.
And I just can't get past the clunky writing about,
a movie like this, you just shut it off. You enjoy it. You laugh. But
we're watching this to be critical. The whole point of this thing is to also look at it as a film.
This brings an important point up. It's like there are different kinds of film, and this is, you can't argue.
What is it? So
where do you the success of the film or the joy the film has brought people? But this is what we'd call, me and my friends, the difference between a movie and a film.
Okay.
This is a good, stupid movie.
Sure. Yeah. 100%.
No, I don't think that's an insult to me calling it a stupid movie.
No, but I think what he means is like, look, I really enjoy this.
I think he nails it.
It's not a great film.
What'd you say,
John? It's a really good, enjoyable film. It's a goofy,
with
silly
stupid dialogue.
No, but I mean, it's
not. Listen,
okay.
We're not even talking about the four actors who had to fake the Jamaican accent through the whole thing. And like you said, they were going to use Denzel or Eddie Murphy. Can you imagine? Who thought of this stuff? The 90s was also heavy cocaine use, I think, too.
I think you saw.
And I got to believe if they're down in Jamaica, they're smoking a lot of weed while they're doing this as well.
Ganja.
And a lot of stuff looked great as they were writing. Oh my God, this is going to be awesome. The coach is going to get thrown off the team and lose this because he put too much weight in it. This is going to be awesome.
And it's John Candy, and look how heavy he is. And he got fired for putting weight in it.
Okay. All right, fellas.
No, Debbie.
That's quite enough.
I'm sorry. I feel bad.
Good.
Hey, I'm glad you brought a movie that four of us haven't seen.
But if you want to see, if you want to see an Olympics film, a sports film that hits all the right notes, it's Miracle, the hockey about the 1980 team. Mm-hmm. With Kurt Russell.
Well, one time I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out.
Oh, she was waiting for that.
I thought you said you weren't drinking.
She was waiting for that.
You went out and got some booze. Or have you guys ever seen the documentary, the film Men with Brooms? about the guys who do
Now
curling,
you're making
the
a
curling
joke.
guys.
No.
Leslie Nielsen plays the coach. You should check that one out. That's a good cold
Men with
weather sports
Brooms?
film. Men with Brooms. Yeah, there's a
How about
series.
dodgeball?
I love
That's
that.
another
If you
one.
could dodge a wrench,
Debbie, here's the thing.
love
Debbie, here's the
that
thing.
movie.
It's like it is an underdog story. You do root for the guys at the end. There's no question.
Yeah.
And you know, but the up until I was all into it when they're walking to the finish line until the slow clap scene started. Right when the German was the first one to slow clap, and then it ends with the coach. I
But
was
that
just like,
applause
they lost
wasn't
it.
the
That
slow
did
clap, but
happen.
the,
That
the
did
applause
happen.
really happened. That
I
really
know it
happened.
did. You see the original
So-
footage, and they're
Yeah.
high fiving people. I get
Yeah,
it. They
so-
walked to the finish line. I
So
understand
it was a
that.
little more dramatic.
But the
That
film
doesn't
had to
bother
put
me.
but the film had to put a slow clap in because they go, it's the 90s. We got to do a slow clap in this one. So I'm telling you, it's cocaine infused or weed infused.
Well, I suppose you've never smoked it.
That's not the point. In Jamaica, I smoked
haven't.
a lot of it.
I haven't ever.
I saw electricity in Jamaica
Sean
after I
never
smoked
smoked
it.
any ganja.
No.
I watched electricity go up a wall into the
I'm high on
ceiling
life.
fan and it powered a ceiling fan. in
Ralph will do
Jamaica.
it if it's free, right?
Yeah, it was
Oh, no,
definitely-
that's
It was
no,
free.
that's-
It was free.
Oh, there you go. See?
We can't talk about that because somebody will get in trouble.
I don't know why. It's legal, isn't it?
What, the 4 people who watch are going to get us in trouble? Come on.
Yeah.
Speaking of ganja, you should subscribe. You should hit the notification button and share it. That's what I think. That's what I
Debbie,
think.
listen, I'm sorry. I don't mean to tear it up. I really don't.
No,
I
because
just-
you actually enjoyed it.
I
You
did.
just-
I did. And I did make me want to see more, learn more about these guys because
Yeah.
it was very impressive to come off an island like that and fish out of water for sure.
in the short
and-
time frame that they did it too. which
I
Chris,
just
you
found the
mentioned in
movie to be
beginning.
so clunky. I just couldn't get past it.
I have a story, a real story to tell you guys.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me put on my glasses. This should be good.
Is it about sex?
No. Okay. So one time Sean and I were on the beach in the Bahamas. And this lady, she must have been 300 pounds. And we're just relaxing on the beach, and I was
And you're
trying to.
thinking she'd make a good bobsled driver. No. Oh,
She had her trinkets she was selling, and she was making so much noise with them.
Mhm.
And in my head, I was going, oh, she's coming back. I got to get, and I wanted to give her some money, and I felt bad. Well, first she was irritating me, because I was taking a nap. And then I said, oh, this is sad. She just needs to have a little bit of money. She's here on this island and there's no other tourists but me and Sean. So I said, I got to come up with some money to give her to buy. I have to buy some of this stuff. And I ended up and I was so kind to her because I had these terrible thoughts about it. That's how I am sometimes. I'm not a very nice person. And then I feel guilty and then I atone for myself. But anyway, she's there and she tells me the
Catholicism
story.
sucks. What?
Yeah, it's suspenseful. But leading me to this place where she tells me that her son is a pharmacist in the United
Baltimore.
States.
Hmm.
And I said, oh my gosh, that's great. I'll go to his, pharmacy and everything. And she goes, well, he sells drugs.
He's a street pharmacist. She
In the
said.
States.
And my
Yeah.
heart just broke for her.
Oh,
She
But,
goes,
did
"We
you have her
tried it."
braid your hair though? At least.
No.
Oh.
She said to
She
me,
bought
she
drinks.
goes, we
Street
tried so
pharmacist.
hard here on the
Now,
island.
what is the point of your story as it relates to this?
You
You
film
need a
is-
Chiron that when she
I mean-
starts with this, you got to put like a Debbie rant. A Debbie rant's
We
got to
gotta.
come
We
up.
should warn our
Yeah.
right.
But
You
I
need
feel
to-
hard for these people, these islanders who live in paradise, and it's really not really.
Well, at Chris's point, there are beautiful sections of it, and then you get away from the resort.
On one
areas.
hand, you're saying how
and it's all
beautiful they have the
poverty.
sun, they have the moon, they have they're
that's-
so happy, and then
You ever see the
and
Mighty
they are
Quinn?
happy, but they have
No.
to survive,
Good movie.
Well, I'll
Good
tell you,
Denzel Washington.
was he playing a Jamaican?
He
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
He was playing.
No cultural appropriation there. Everybody's fine with that. I don't really care. I'm just asking.
my boss had
Are there
a.
no Jamaican actors?
I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
Okay,
They
name
act
one.
like they're
Name
happy.
one.
All of them.
Jimmy
they act
Cliff.
like they're happy.
Thank you, Jim.
My boss had a vacation villa that he rented in Jamaica. He actually had 2 of them. But some of the people I know who went to it was like a very expensive place, very well done. They were like investment properties that he also rented. But somebody I went to and said, "Oh, it was so depressing. The house is so beautiful. It's got this beautiful pool and beautiful grounds. But when you're sitting by the pool, you look down the hill and you see people living in cardboard boxes."
Well, that's what I did. I went to my company gave me, after 10 years, they gave me a week at a villa in Jamaica. And it's exactly that. You're in this palatial house and you go 400 yards off that and you're in abject poverty. And that's why there's giant fences around your house.
That's right.
What's that?
That's why you take some $20 and buy some of their stuff.
I did. I do that. I mean, because
that's why.
You feel guilty. You feel like you have to.
Yeah, but they're on the beach every day bugging you for that stuff.
Right. I know that.
Yeah,
but that's where I got the way to the we had a butler. It sounds horrible, but it's true. And he gave me a big giant thing to smoke, and Jamaica was wild at that point.
You know, but I'll tell you,
long time ago, though. Long time
like
ago.
a carrot.
Long time ago.
It was. Thick.
You know, I will say, I was in Cancun once, and I was feeling
I love Cancun
a bit. And we were on this tour going to see the ruins and everything. And I was talking to the guy.
What I said here when I went to the ruins.
My story,
yeah, but cut in with the joke. So we went there and said, "This is nothing but ruin."
Oh my God. I want whatever she's having.
I'm sorry.
No, but I was talking to the tour guy.
Don't hate me.
We'll talk after the podcast.
Oh boy. No, we'll keep recording though. Go ahead.
So so I talked to the guy who's a native of that area, and I say, I feel kind of guilty. And he goes, "About what?" I go, "Look at us. I mean, we're a bunch of white Americans coming down here and you're all like waiting on us." He goes, "Dude, don't even feel that for a second."
Yeah.
He goes, "You know what we did before those hotels came?" I said, "No." He goes, "We did slash and burn agriculture. That's what I used to do before
it's the same. You go to New Orleans, not the same, but it's the same. It's like the tourism is what keeps everybody working.
Yeah.
And,
and they say don't tip,
tough to see,
but you got to tip them,
Right. So that's why this movie is so strong and impactful, because you realize where they came from and the underdog story behind it, right?
Yeah, but they're really not.
So I'm sensing
they're like strong men.
I'm sensing a strong thumbs up from Ralph. Now.
I'm not going to give it a thumbs up, but we'll talk about that in a second. Let's rate it. Okay, let's do that
first.
Right now.
Chris, do you have any white guilt to throw in?
Tons.
Yeah,
what? Look at them.
No, yeah, sure. I mean, I was like, it is that thing. You go. I've never actually been to Jamaica, but I've been to the Bahamas, and I've taken cruises and things like that. And there is that element. You do feel like, there, you do feel that sometimes, but at the same time, you that's the other part of it. You say, if there was no tourism,
that's right.
What would be going on here?
Right. What little they have is because of tourism.
Right. So, I mean, you do feel that to some extent. I'm not going to make a world proclamation on whether that's a good thing, bad thing, or the way that we should try to, advance or change or help. But anyway, you can't help. I mean, I think you'd be, you can't help but like go there and be, look at this and say, and like you said, Deb, sometimes you go, what, I would never buy this cigarette ashtray or ashtray. I guess you don't really have to say cigarette ashtray. I would never buy this ashtray because I don't smoke and nobody smokes in my house, but I'm going to go ahead and, pay $4 for it because, I feel like I should spread it around a little bit,
And yet we'll negotiate down to the last dollar for whatever rug or whatever you want to take back. I mean,
No, you don't. You say, I remember this one little kid. She had turtles. She was selling these little tiny, she's in Mexico.
Negotiate for a rug.
And she was selling these turtles for $1. And I said, I'm not going to give you $1.
You go to Cancun, they have those. Yeah. You have those places you go in and shop. Right.
You buy rugs.
But
whatever. Rugs, trinkets.
Can you cut this out? Can you edit this out?
No, I'm not going to edit it out. You can get rugs in Cancun, I bet.
Getting off topic, man.
Can you? Yeah, we're way off topic. All right, let's rate this film. John.
I'll tell you what, Sanka. I really like this movie.
Are you dead? Dead, Sanka?
I like this movie a lot. It made me smile, and I really liked the ending. Was it a great film? No, but I enjoyed it. I laughed. I liked the guys that were in it. They were very likable. So I give it a yippee-ki-yay.
Chris?
I'm going to give it a yippee-ki-meh. because, like I said, I think the movie accomplished what it tried to do. I think it's, obviously it's a Disney family film. They're not going to get into questions about, poverty and things like that. They obviously had to change the story a lot. So it would, to add all this extra stuff like the Europeans being nasty and mean to them and things like that to give it some more dramatic emphasis. But at the same time, like I said, I try to judge a movie on what it's trying to do. I don't judge Die Hard on trying to make me, really feel like, to express some deep element of the human condition.
Well, that's a husband and wife trying to get back together. I don't understand.
I mean, I don't know, but I love Die Hard because it's super well made. It's super thrilling and exciting, and it's funny on top of that. Anyway, my point being is that, so I give it a yippee-ki-yay, man. Like I said, it felt a little clunky, but
would your kids give it a yippee-ki-yay?
Oh God, they loved it. Yes.
Yeah. How old are your children?
6 and 9.
There you go.
And they've got that kind of taste already. That's awesome.
I say yippee-ki-yay, meh. I'm leaning towards a thumbs down, except the story is so fascinating and what these people did.
You're looking forward to the remake that David Fincher directs.
Exactly. I would love to see a Fincher version of this. It'd be great.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine that one?
So I'm saying Matt on the filmmaking is just terrible. Okay. The filmmaking, the actors did the best they could for what they had, but the filmmaking's just too clunky. Like I said, the trailers cut better than the film. So I'll give it a little slight thumbs up because I love the stories that come out of it and the research I did after.
And you felt good at the end.
I did. Yeah. I felt for them. I felt like that's a positive story for those. It's not 4 people. There were more people involved in the team. They just focused on the 4 in the film. There were like 15 or 18 people. I don't even think they had a real coach. Like, I don't know what the hell was going on in this, but yeah. So but yeah.
Well, I'm going to go thumbs up. I will say I enjoyed.
I would if I were you.
I'm going to. I feel I'll be happier if I like the movie.
I think you made the right choice, my friend.
But I don't feel the need. Can I finish?
I'm sorry.
He needs to insert another joke.
A lot of interruptions tonight. Wow.
I don't know. I never do it to anyone.
I'm sorry.
Okay. But
Please forgive me. Please forgive me.
I was just talking. You cut me off again.
Oh my God.
So
I'm sorry.
Continue, Sean.
Okay.
Can I speak now?
Please do.
Okay. I am happy. This is a film I did not strenuously avoid, but I did not see. There must have been something good that came out that week. And I should look and see what came out that same week because I know I went to the movies because I did. But I'm glad I saw it. I don't feel the need to see it again.
Yeah. I can understand.
I'm happy I saw it. It's an interesting story. Even though practically everything was made up, it was essentially true.
Yeah, I will admit I watched it a couple times because I fell asleep a lot watching it the first time. I missed
it's an hour and a half movie. How can you fall asleep?
Do I have to say more? I missed the whole bobsled training with the Volkswagen and the freezing the kid in the ice thing and all that.
Which they were on the actual hill where they actually did it.
I know. Okay. Oh, that's fantastic.
Which is pretty cool. I think that's cool.
So, okay, go ahead, Debbie. I think we know Debbie's.
I love this film because right after I watched it, I got a new job. I retired 2 years ago and I got a new job and I'm driving for Lyft.
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
Oh,
really?
Talk about lucky passengers.
I am going to Baltimore to get a Lyft.
I just want to say this about that. This film has done so much for me because I just watched it and then I just had some scary things happen, but I had to have courage. And I was like, so glad that I watched this movie. It just inspired me to take it, to be courageous, to go where, you wouldn't necessarily do this, but I'm having a great time. It's a blast.
I have to say, a Lyft driver in Baltimore, that's
I would rather her drive a bobsled.
I was going to say, I think the bobsled would be safer.
Yeah. I'm not saying that.
I would love to be
congratulations.
A 52-year-old DoorDash woman was murdered 4 blocks from me.
You gotta.
And Devin Harris, the guy who played Yul Brynner, he played the part of Yul Brynner. He's doing these motivational speeches.
Yeah, I see him on TED.
I just watched him, and it's like
the actor or the real guy?
The real guy.
I'm fascinated. Not so much with movies. We're in a movie thing podcast, and it's about movies. But the movies are about life, and that's me. I'm about life. I'm about living and what constitutes a real courageous
And this
So
took
that's
an
a
hour and
thumbs
a
up
half out of
then
my
from you. That's a thumbs up from
Oh,
you.
it's
This,
tough.
this film took an hour and a half out of my life.
Here.
Mentioning.
I will
but
say
yeah.
that guy, Devin Harris, is such a
Wonderful.
motivational
Oh.
speaker. He's the one that convinced that 52-year-old woman to become a DoorDash driver that was murdered 5 blocks from my house.
I think Sean has an opinion on this new job.
No, I'm very supportive of anything.
No.
Anything my
I'm
wife
making
does.
money. I'm making money.
Nice.
That's all I ask.
How's the
of.
life insurance? That's all
For
paid up?
love and
I
money.
got life insurance too.
There you go, Sean. That's you're good.
Are you going to spin the wheel for next week?
And
We don't
he's-
need to. It's Sean.
We should do it. We should just do it.
No, we're good. We don't need to.
Believe those crocodiles.
Everyone's a director.
I don't have any insurance. I want people to be sad when I die.
Be very sad.
John, we're going to do a special show when you die.
Oh,
We're all going to be sad.
What movie would that be?
Will you cry as much as you did for Tom
what
Brady?
movie would that's interesting? What? Probably My Name Is Nobody.
yeah.
What do you mean? What movie? Like a movie you picked for your deathbed? What? Like
Yeah. What movie would we talk about
oh,
in memoriam for Sean?
oh wow.
Well, hopefully by then Chapel Street will be a movie.
Yes.
All right. So Sean, you have next week. We're not going to spin. We don't need to. You got
I
next,
think it's
next week's
fun
film.
for Sean to see his
Film
name
go
in
with.
picture spin up.
You already know the film.
Yes. You want to do the spin? Just I
We don't
just-
need to do the spin.
Oh,
Everybody
Ralph-
stop directing.
You
Ralph,
picked your movie.
Ralph, man, come on, lighten up, man.
Don't make me
I
shut
kinda
that
wanna
block
do a
off.
film from 2022,
What?
but I didn't want it to be too new, so I'm going to do a film set in 2022, a science fiction film.
Soylent Green.
Yes. Don't say what it's made out of.
So you're
John
going to
did
do
film.
John buried the lead or didn't bury the lead? What are you?
I did
Soylent
bury
Green?
Yeah.
Soylent Green.
Charlton Heston?
Beam
Edward
Charles-
G. Robinson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ed G. Robinson.
You ever see the SNL sketch? All the deleted scenes.
No.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Soylent Green. It's paper. It's paper.
Now, this
movie. I have a
is a film
T-shirt that
back in the
says
day.
Soylent Green is people.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
But here's the great thing about the movie and why I decided to bring it, because it is set in 2022.
That's amazing.
To compare the world
Yeah.
that we're living in now,
That'll be
to
fun.
envision this year back in the day.
That
I think
sounds
that was
great.
73 or 74, maybe.
All right.
Yes, maybe 72.
Do they
so-
use dump trucks to put people in crowd control? Do they do
Well,
that?
in Baltimore.
Soylent Green.
All right. Well, that's
Oh,
great.
that's
So we'll do
great.
that next week.
Ralph, that's an early 70s movie. You got to be thrilled with that.
Okay, I have it. I own it. I've seen
Oh,
it.
nice.
I
On
love it.
Laserdisc?
I have it on Laserdisc and Blu-ray.
All right.
So I will.
Wow, you got it on
Okay,
Blu-ray.
what is the most? I got a quiz for you. What's the most common phrase used here on this podcast?
On our podcast.
I'm the director.
No,
Oh,
I got it on Laserdisc.
Oh, maybe it might be. That's a good thing. We got to keep it. That's why Archive 81 is amazing.
I was about to
Because
say, you know,
it's equipment
I
porn.
sit there. I'm like, oh my god,
It's equipment
awesome.
porn.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Check out the
Well,
size of that
Watch the
VCR.
Beatles get back. That was for me was amazing guitar porn.
Why is everybody like you compared these four tobogganers to the Beatles? I was watching the Always Sunny in Philadelphia podcast.
I love that
they
show.
do. Those guys are comparing this. Which
That's
Beatle
hilarious.
are you? We the
Can
Beatles.
I ask you a
we're
question,
the
Ralph?
Cre-
Speaking of the Beatles, have you ever watched a concert on the roof?
No, don't need to. Because I did. I watched
The
the end of
best
that one.
friggin' part of that movie.
I did. I
you
like the
didn't
cops
watch.
trying to break it up. That was my favorite. part.
Wow.
The
That's
Bobbies or whatever
They're
call
going
those
IMAX,
guys.
you know. They're putting that concert
I know
on
they
IMAX.
are. I know they are. So Chris, hopefully you can join us next week for Soylent Green.
I would love to, but I happen to know that I am already booked.
All right. So, Ralph, what I
Tell
can
us
do
what
is I
you
can
think
set
of
up
it.
another camera and I could do something with my hair and I could represent Chris. What do you think?
You'd
We're
never
gonna
be
have to
able
go
to
a
do
long way to get this
Maybe
going.
we'll.
I
Maybe
know.
we'll
I
get
gotta
Wiggy,
work on it.
Wiggy.
maybe we'll get another
Well, guess
guest
what?
on.
We have a special
yeah.
guest coming in next week to watch Soylent Green with us.
Charlton
Yeah.
Heston? No, he's dead.
Who do we got?
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. Special
next
guest.
day.
I'll find somebody for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because I like the four. The four is a nice, clean look. You know, it's like the
Oh,
Beatles.
yeah, clean.
We look like the Beatles. And there's
We look like the Jamaican Beatles.
except
Yeah,
for,
man. We
except
needed
for
a
Yoko
helmet.
Ono over there. I don't know which one of you guys
Ralph,
is Yoko.
which one would you be? Are you Ringo?
I think I'd have to say I'm Ringo.
Yeah.
I would just sit there and just let everything go. I don't care. You guys fight about your song. Jesus, just tell me what to do. Yeah.
Well,
That's
Sean
fine.
is Les Paul.
Les Paul.
Well, that's what would have made the Beatles better.
That's what kind of guitar he wants to get.
I saw that. We saw
It's
that.
a great guitar.
Well, he got some cool winnings coming in.
Yes.
He got
And
some
that's
money.
why you have to go and do lift on the
That,
side.
well, we're doing lift on the side.
I'm trying to buy him this thing.
What do you mean we? Are you driving too, or is it just Debbie?
It's me.
Oh.
I'm trying to buy him this guitar. It's a $3,800 purchase.
We'll have to ask our Patreon.
It's a whole lot
members
of
to
lifting.
Pitch in.
Why don't we'll do a GoFundMe page?
Can we GoFundMe for the guitar?
What the hell?
No.
I told
never
you
do
that I
that.
have a streaming series. I don't want to say too much about it on the podcast, but they're shooting it, and I'm just got to send my invoice in now.
Well, send it in, get that guitar. Come on, let's go.
It's gonna be more than the guitar.
But I want to provide the guitar for Sean.
Understood.
Well,
Very
I think
nice.
my good friends at Pinnacle Peak and Sony Pictures will be providing the.
Very
So
nice.
many names you're going to drop in one
All
shot.
right,
Your wife is going to provide it before they do.
Ralph. Great show tonight. Nice job
The
tonight.
20th from them.
I told you not to do that, didn't I?
No, I'm serious.
Okay.
What?
Nothing.
I thought Ralph
I
did a
don't
great
like-
job
I don't
on the
like-
show tonight.
I don't like when he does
When he
that.
says great show, or when he
I
goes.
don't like when he does something else. So let's
No,
not.
I'm
let's
just
not-
saying it was a great show.
everybody.
You did a
Everybody
nice
have
job.
no, stop. Everybody have a safe week. Chris, sorry you're not going to be here next week for Soylent Green,
I know. I love that film.
but I think your kids should watch that one too. I think they'll love that one. So otherwise, I'll see you guys next week. Maybe we'll have a guest on. Maybe we won't. I'll try to get someone to come on. Okay.
Tom Brady, thanks for everything.
Yeah. There
Yeah,
you go.
Tom.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Have a good
Thanks.
week.
Goodbye,
Bye.
sweet prince.